welcome to a new video. Today I want to show you how you can activate your creativity while producing music. I've been producing music for almost 6 years now, and for me the most important thing is to always stay inspired so I can work in a creative way. And today I want to show you a few examples how this works so you can also apply this method in your own productions. First I want to show you this intro sequence right here.
Every move I know they follow me, dressed all in white on my own. I'm so done.
And so on and so on. You can check out the full song on SoundCloud. You can already hear the delay effect of the sound I want to break down now. And what makes this sound so special is that I randomly generated it with Serum. If you enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe, which is the best way to support the channel for free. So let's have a quick look at the Serum patch and then I will explain what I did in particular. We have this Serum right here, which is just playing the chords. And you can already hear it's always randomizing the sound on every hit. I've also enabled the arpeggio here, so we get a random pattern every time. And it's playing in the notes from the chords in a random order. Also the add-ons and the chord changes. And I'm modulating a few parameters here, like the detuning, the panning and so on. Also I think, yeah, the delay a little bit. And you can hear there are some cool creative patterns coming out of this. And I don't have to think I want this exact pattern or I want this order of notes in the context of my song I'm working on. And that's the key point, which does not only work for melodic music, also for heavy music, which I will show you later. I don't think of the order of a sound or how I want a particular element sound like later on. And this is why I love generating random stuff, for example, with the help of a random arpeggiator and also note on random discretes in the modulation section of Serum, so I can just randomly have a different position of the effect on every hit in the sound I'm playing. And then I rendered this to audio. And the rendered audio file basically sounds like this. And the cool thing is, when you render it again, it will sound different. And you can do this a few times and get variations. And I wanted to create some really emphasized moments at the beginning of each phrase, like here, of a 4-bar pattern, basically. And I just chopped it up, went through the pattern, and chose the snippets which I liked the best throughout the entire intro, basically. And this helped me create a really organic flavor in the intro with different orders of notes being hit. And this synth also sounds like it came to life. I also applied some more processing, some OTT, delay, EQ, some cluster delay, which is really nice, and some surround reverb, which also helps getting this really nice swelling of the sound later on. And what I also did was rendering out the reverb and delayed effect of this and just reversed it. So we also get this cool reverse effect, which also gets some more processing, like some flex chorus and some autopan and some pro R reverb. And then it also helps creating a nice contrast between the more prominent hits. And then it's overlapping with the additional delay from this with this more wet and chorused feel. And yeah, this helped me a lot find inspiration for other elements I added in the intro. The cool thing is we can just go through the sound and get different variations. And this is what I love doing. Just having a long variety of sounds I could potentially choose and then just going through the audio file and finding the perfect spots which work for me. I also did the same with the vocal of the song.
Behind the tree.
I just took single phrases or syllables from the vocal and then just applied some more effects like reverb and delay and also reversed it so I can get a cool effect. And I did not actively scout for the phrases I wanted to include. I just went through the vocal and just selected a few random ones which I really liked. Then added delay, more reverb, and then reversed it and added more delay and more reverb and more effects, some auto pen, some more delay, just some more processing, some hyperdimension. And then it sounded like this. Or like that. And just having these really atmospheric elements just help getting like a foundation for more stuff you want to add. And this always helps me a lot, getting a nice foundation in a really natural way without having one sound or one iteration of a sound which I need to use now. So I can just go through different sections and just select the ones I like the most. And this always helps me a lot, staying inspired and just keep going and working on the song. We also have this really cool sound right here, which I introduced later on in the course of the intro. This is actually a sound from a different project from my 15-hour stream I did on my birthday. This is what it sounded like. And this was also in a completely different key. And I just needed a sound which really helped bringing the intro to the next level. And I just went through my old projects. This project wasn't that old at this point, I think just a few days old. I found this really cool sound, and then I thought, what would it sound like in the context of this remix if I pitch it up into the right key? Without, it sounds like this. And now I needed this next level layer, which perfectly helps elevating the song, not just in the musical context, but also in an emotional context. And this was the perfect sound after I pitched it up. So now listen to it in context. And you can perfectly hear the notes which it is supposed to hit in this context to just bring it on like the next, oh yes, we are starting now, or get this nostalgic feel which now introduces us into the next section. Editing BassTi right here, I wanted to let you know that next Friday we will start with sample challenges. This means I will give you a sound or a sample and you have the task to make something within the time frame of 2 hours. And after that we will listen to all the results on stream and decide a winner, and the winner gets something cool. I'm really excited to start these challenges now because so many people have requested it and I can't wait to host that next Friday, so make sure to tune in. Alright, let's continue with the video. You can see I'm not using MIDI because I often feel like MIDI is limiting me. Of course, I could have replicated the notes in MIDI and add even more effects and stuff, but I just prefer working in audio and have this creative freedom. Like imagine if this sample also had a few more variations later on, I could just skim through the sample and find the perfect spot again without having to worry about changing the notes and stuff, and this always helps me a lot. Of course, at a certain point, this was MIDI once, but I also think I randomly generated this call thing with Serum too. You can rewatch it in my 15-hour stream. It was probably a mixture of different things, but also MIDI was involved at some point. I just love working in audio. It just always helps me stay motivated and inspired. And now let's transition into the next part, which follows the same workflow. All right, the project file has loaded and you can already see there's only audio files right here. So this entire drop uses audio files. The most important layer is the bass layer right here. And working in audio also helped me getting the exact moment of the reese where it was supposed to hit at the beginning of every hit. So this reese was a longer file basically, which also had some movement from the phasing. And with this way of working, I was able to get the exact position I wanted to have the sound be like in the mix. Then we have this percussive layer. And then we have this sound from the stems of the remix. The stems sounded like this. And I basically chopped it up and found the perfect moments for every hit. And there's also a ton of more processing happening here. And also another layer, which is the same, but more reverbed, just for a subtle stereo background thing. And also with some compactor sidechaining with this layer right here. We also have these two layers. Just some chopped up VR lasers. And finally we had the melody layer, which I made with bismuth and which is also an audio file essentially. I just tweaked the knobs in bismuth and recorded it on a random sound I had laying around. So I got lots of different variations right away, and then I chopped it up and got this. And I also did some more processing like stereo width, for example. And spec up, of course. And you can see you also don't really need MIDI, and just align the snippets in a way they sound good. You can also check out the full song on my SoundCloud. Alright, enough of melodic music, now let's jump into the heavy context. If you want a sound design tutorial, especially about these glitchy sounds, let me know in the comments. And you can see I'm working in audio again. And the most important layer is, of course, the tone layer for the bass. And the cool thing is, because we're working in audio, we can just shift around the pitch. We can play around with the different warping modes to just get all different kinds of tones and variations, which would definitely fit in this context. And the even better thing is that we can also scroll through the sample and just find different spots which could work in the context. This was a sound design session I did. Of course, you also need to be a little bit lucky to find the best sections. This one goes hard, for example. I think it needs some more distortion. Of course, we have this sound again. And we could just change the pitch if we wanted. And you can get so much and good variation in a short period of time. And keeping this method, you can apply this to everything. You can get so much stuff. If you want a sound design tutorial, let me know in the comments. You can see I just randomly skimmed through the samples to just find the position really quickly, and it still sounded good and worked in the context. And this, in my opinion, is the best way to work creatively and just stay inspired. Also, I think with the riot set at once that Skrillex renders out everything in audio. This basically proves my method, I would say. In Skrillex tunes, everything sounds intentional, it sounds clean, it sounds perfect. You just have full control working in audio. Of course, you have to commit to something, but I always keep the original source, and then if I want a different variation, I just render out a different iteration of the sound and just have more material to play around with or even use in future songs. So I hope I were able to inspire you on how you can work creative and also stay motivated and inspired. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you in the next video and goodbye.